Idai lai 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 nidai alai lai 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 alai lai 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 alai lai 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 ai alai lai 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 alai lai 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 alai lai 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 alai lai 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 alai lai 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 ai alai lai 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 alai lai 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 alai lai 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 alai lai 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 alai lai 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 alai lai 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 alai lai 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 alai lai lai lai. Okay, so next week, Wisest Hashem, I'll have the guitar back. If not sooner, Mashiach comes, I'll go run home and get the guitar. It's a good excuse. And so far nobody's online, but Arya is here, and Shalom Aleichem to my mother, who's now traveling on a cruise somewhere in Spain, England, somewhere around there. And to everybody else who watches with us, of course, Katie and Yael, and David and Avital and everybody else. So we're going to continue Wisest Hashem in Likutey Moharan in lesson Ayin Bet 72. We're on Ot Zion. I hope it's the same in your version there. It starts off with Teda yetzer rov ha'olam. So just to recap what we were learning, so that everybody remembers, we're learning about the yetzer, the evil inclination, and the evil inclination comes and tempts a person to do transgressions. It's one of the ways that we have free will. Ayin Bet, Zion, V'teda. One of the ways that we have free will, which is, of course, the reason that Hashem created the world and put our souls in the first place, so we would have choices. And he talks about two types of yetzer. There's the normal yetzer, the yetzer of most people, and the yetzer of the tzaddikim, or people on a very high spiritual level. And the yetzer on a high spiritual level he calls malach kodesh, a holy angel, because the evil inclination is ultimately coming from a very high spiritual place. Found it? Okay. And so the analogy that I gave last week was Haish to Zahava is using this bottle, for example, all the way down here. You can't see the unity of the bottle as it comes up. And the higher up you go spiritually, the more connected you are to Hashem, and the less difference there is between good and evil until you get to a place where there is no evil whatsoever, there's only good. So when a tzaddik is correcting or fixing or sweetening his yetzer or her yetzer, it's coming from fixing that connection on a very high place. When we fix it, it's from avoiding temptation. He also talked about in the beginning, traveling to the tzaddik. He gave it as an example, and he said, you make a decision to come to Rabbi Nachman, for example, and then after you make the decision, you're not so enthusiastic about it, and then even if you get on the plane and you actually travel there, on your way there you say, what am I wasting my time for? And then you finally get there and you say, it wasn't such a big deal. That's all the yetzer. And he says, okay, so what happened? Here you make the decision to travel to the tzaddik, and you killed the yetzer. But he says, no, a new yetzer comes all the time. And then he gave the analogies of King David and King Shlomo, where he said that they also had a yetzer. King David married Bathsheba before she was properly available to him, or was intimate with her. And Shlomo HaMelech married the daughter of Pharaoh. the night that he finished building the Beit HaMikdash. So how can you be on the spiritual level that you built the Beit HaMikdash? Right? Your father wasn't on that level because he fought many wars and spilled a lot of blood. But you were on the level, and then you go and marry Pharaoh, who was the person besides the Nazis that tortured the Jews more than anyone. You marry Pharaoh's daughter. So he says, how can that be? How can it be that a tzaddik on that level would transgress? It's because he gave the example of Shlomo. He said Shlomo married 1,000 women. Now, no normal man can marry 1,000 women. Just not enough time, not enough physical stamina to marry 1,000 women. But he believed that he could elevate all of these women. So he chose women like the daughter of Pharaoh, for example, who was obviously an idol worshiper, to marry her, because he thought he would elevate her. Through his great spiritual level, he would elevate her. But she brought him to idol worship. So in the end, he made a mistake. He thought that he could elevate her, but he didn't. She brought him down. That's the yetzer of a tzaddik like Melech Shlomo. So that's where we left off, more or less, and now we're going to continue. Yachzor leochiach ma shenitpe'er la'ir. And he's going to now prove what he explained above. Sheyetzer megusham shel rov ha'olam ushtut v'shigayon v'chulei. That the yetzer of the normal people is just really a bunch of foolishness and nonsense. We're not talking about the yetzer of Shlomo Melech or David Melech. We're talking about every normal, their yetzer. V'teda, no. Sheyetzer shel rov ha'olam, that the yetzer of most people, shehu akirat adamim, that comes from, it's called the thickness of the blood, but it really means distorted thoughts, not having clarity. Ushtut v'shigayon v'sichlut gadol. This is a bunch of nonsense and craziness and foolishness, complete big foolishness. As the sage of blessed memory said in Masechet Sota Gimel, Eina Adam over avira ele im kein nichnas bo ruach shtut. A person does not transgress unless the spirit of folly has entered into them. Meaning that if you know that Hashem is watching you all the time, or the example that I gave, if somebody is tempted to shoplift and a policeman is standing right over their shoulder, and they look at the policeman, they're not going to steal in front of the policeman. If we had that level of awareness of Hashem all the time, then we wouldn't be doing transgressions. But we forget that Hashem is watching, or we pretend that Hashem isn't watching, or we say, I can't handle Hashem watching me all the time. Leave me alone. Danielle Hartman, the current co-president of the Hartman Institute, he wrote a book, Putting God Second. And when I interviewed him on the podcast, I asked him, what's the deal with that? And he basically said, a lot of people feel like you have to put God second. You have to put yourself first and put God second. So, I wouldn't want to go to Shemayim having written the book, Putting God Second. But I do understand his point, and obviously he had some healing to do in writing the book. I tried to read, I didn't get very far into the book. But that's where it comes from, ruach shtut. Mevu'ar. Ki yetzer shel avira ushtut v'shigayon. Now he explains that the yetzer, Shalom Aleichem to Leib and to Hava, I said before, and to Chaya. The yetzer is connected to foolishness and silliness. Ela shelafi ze kashe. But if that's true, then this is difficult. De mashma sheka b'chol avira afilu shel adam gadol harei yetzara shelo hu malach kodesh v'kanal. Okay, so he says, if we're saying that everyone's yetzara is foolishness, and the reason that they do a transgression is because they're foolish, well, we can't really know that as a fact, because we know that even a great person, a great tzaddik, has a yetzara, and their yetzara is called malach kodesh. So there's two different types of yetzara, as mentioned above. Ve'ech koreh lo ruach shtut, and how can you call malach kodesh? And is this your dog?
For the next 4 days, yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. Okay, that's a first. What's the dog's name?
Trish.
Trish. Shalom Aleichem, Trish. Trish, welcome to Likutey Moharan. And Koach as well. Okay, so we're continuing. So he says, if we're calling the yetzer hara ruach shtut, a spirit of folly, then we can't say the same thing for King Shlomo and King Melech and King David, Melech David, because they obviously weren't fools. I mean, King Shlomo was the wisest of all people. Umeshiv ki be'emet yesh ruach shtut shel avera. There's the spirit of folly of doing a transgression. Shu chacham gadol yoter mikol ha'olam. And that yetzer hara, that spirit of folly, is smarter than anyone in the world, even King Shlomo. Ki hu b'chinat malach hakodesh ha'alyon hanal. Because it's an aspect of this heavenly angel. It's coming from a very high spiritual place, a higher spiritual place than any person. You want a tea or you want water?
This is wasabi.
What is it?
Wasabi.
Wasabi, enjoy. Okay. Shaba me madriga me gvura v'dinim elyonim. Where does this yetzer hara come from? That's called the heavenly angel. It comes from this high place of stringency and judgment, the highest place. Ve'afan pi chen, nonetheless, ruach shtut. It's still spirit of folly. It's still nonsense. Ki sof sof gam itkabrut al yetzer hara b'bchinat malach kodesh. Because even when a person finally overcomes their yetzer hara, their evil inclination, what they're really overcoming is this heavenly angel. Hi al yedei sheyagbir da'ato. And how do you overcome the yetzer hara? You increase your da'at, your awareness of Hashem, v'yavi et pituyav v'yamtik et adinim b'da'ato. And we'll understand the temptations of the yetzer hara, and will sweeten the judgments with a person's awareness of Hashem. V'lachen, and therefore, im adam gadol nichshal, if a great person, like a high spiritual person, fails, nikra inyan ze ruach shtut lefi erko. This is called the spirit of folly according to that person's spiritual level. So if you were to marry Pharaoh's daughter, it would be a transgression. You're marrying a non-Jew, but it's not on the level of Shlomo HaMelech marrying Pharaoh's daughter, because he is already on this very high spiritual level of having the merit of building the Beit HaMikdash and also being the wisest person that ever lived. And when he does a transgression, it's on a very high level, but it's still a transgression, and it still comes from a place of ruach shtut, of spirit of folly, just a spirit of folly on that person's spiritual level. Ach, ze haruach shtut shenrov haolam. But the spirit of folly of most of the world, haovrim avirot, the do transgressions, ushtut mamish, evel, peti, v'meshuga. It's a nice list of words there. The transgressions that most people do comes from a place of foolishness, literally, daftness, being an idiot, or being crazy. Ve'in malei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if it were not for Hashem, shemekayem et da'atam, shelo yishtaghu legamrei, that keeps their head on their shoulders, that gives them da'at, bless you, gives them da'at, so they have an awareness of Hashem. If it wasn't for that, the person would go completely insane. And we did learn a lesson a while back, I don't remember which lesson it was. Yeah. Oh, hello. That Rabbi Nachman said, the yetzer hara, the yetzer hara רוצה לעשות האדם משוגע ממש, wants to make a person completely crazy. That's the goal of the yetzer hara. Wants to make you completely crazy. And Rabbi Nachman gives an analogy. He says, who wants what's in my hand? So people come, they say, I do. And he says, how much are you going to give me? They say, I'll give you, a shekel. Another give 5 shekels. Now you have a whole crowd of people. How much are you going to give me? 100 shekels, 1,000 shekels. People are so curious. What's in your hand? He says, fine, I'll take it for 1,000 shekels. Nothing in my hand. He said, that's the yetzer hara. That's how the yetzer hara works. He tries to tempt you again and again and again. You're willing to pay and pay and pay. And in the end, you get nothing. And so that's how the yetzer hara can make a person completely crazy. People would go completely insane. ולכן עדיין יכולים הם לחזור בתשובה, אף שנשתגעו. But even though a person lost their mind, they can still do tshuva. Don't give up. כמבואר בליקוטי ההלכות, this is a footnote on here, נטילת ידיים לסעודה זין, as explained in ליקוטי ההלכות, about washing the hands before a meal in section זין, וזה לשונו. כשהאדם פוגם בדעתו הרבה ונמשך אחר השיגיון והרוח שטות שלו. When a person damages their da'at, their awareness of Hashem, again and again, and continues with their silly thoughts, their crazy thoughts, and their foolish thoughts, that can literally make a person crazy. And this is known that every person according to their transgressions, that person is crazy. Because a person that does a transgression is crazy, just like we said above. Person doesn't do a transgression unless the spirit of folly enters into them. And according to all of the many transgressions that so many people have, as it's known, it's fitting that everybody should be crazy. Based on all the transgressions that people have done, we all should be crazy. But Hashem has compassion on His creations. And so Hashem helps us to keep it together enough so that we don't completely lose our minds. Because somebody who falls into the spirit of folly, the person still has a choice. And even the completely crazy person, we're not talking about Kfar Sha'ul. We're not talking about people that have literally lost their minds. We're talking about people that went crazy from the yetzer. When the person is hit really well, the person can throw off the craziness because of fear or stringency, meaning you can knock sense into a person. And so with all of this, a person that wants to have compassion on themselves, they should strengthen the tiny bit of da'at that they still have against this spirit of folly and the craziness that comes and reinforces itself against the person again and again. And all of this comes, how can we fight the yetzer? Only through the power of the true tzaddik, hameramez lo remazim umeir bo hadat beferush beremez, that gives hints to the person and tries to show them the light, to see the way in their awareness of Hashem through these hints, b'derchei atzot tovot v'amukot v'tmimot v'chulei, through deep and good and pure pieces of advice. Ashrei sheyochez bo. Blessed are those that hold on to the advice of the tzaddik. Meaning, how do we get out of the shtut, the nonsense, through the tzaddikim? And just very simply through learning things like Likutey Moharan. Shalom Aleichem to everyone who joined us, to Carlos and to Aaron, Otherwise, we go completely insane. I'm trying to think. There was a Jimmy Buffett song, something, we go completely insane. I used to listen to a lot of Jimmy Buffett while I drove to the Keys. I would go to the Keys every weekend, basically. As soon as I got a car, I had a kayak. I'd go to the Keys. I'd take the kayak to all these little islands off of the Keys. I don't know why I did that, and I slept in a tent.
Because it was fun.
It was something. There was something fun, but I don't know how much fun. Whatever, I did it. I got dehydrated. I remember buying pizza and sticking it in the kayak, and it was rotten, so I threw it out, and the fish ate it. And interesting things. Okay, so ruach shtut, we'd all go crazy. Hello, והלא תראה דוגמה לדבר. So now let's give you an example for this. שיש כמה בני אדם שיש להם הרהורי עבודה זרה. There's all kinds of people, and there are people that have thoughts of serving idols. Nothing remains the same. Oh, nothing remains the same. Yeah, maybe that's it. I can't see the rest of the comment here, Yael. And Chaya is in Glasgow. Okay, so we have people that want to worship idols. Now, it can be all kinds of things. It can be worshiping money. It can be worshiping drugs. It can be worshiping sex. It can be worshiping another religion. It can literally be worshiping idols. V'yesh b'sha'a she'omed litpalen, and then it comes the time when the person wants to daven. Ba lenegdo demut avodah zara. An image of idol worship comes in front of this person. I wasn't sure what this was. Shel sheti ve'erev ve'tzaluv. So tzaluv is a cross. I'm not sure what the other two are.
It's the warp and the woof.
Oh, what is that?
When using an old school sewing machine,
Yeah.
there's the warp and the woof. I think the warp goes this way and the woof goes that way.
Ah,
crisscross.
very good, Aryeh. Whatever your parents paid for your education was worth it just for that. Okay, what's it called? The whoop and the woof?
Warp.
Warp and the woof.
Warp.
Okay. I don't think we had those in Miami. There are a lot of Cubans and mosquitoes.
200 years ago you did.
I guess. Okay, before air conditioning. So basically, something unrelated to your life shows up in front of you during daven. And even though the person knows that this doesn't have any power at all, nonetheless, it really comes and strengthens itself against the person. And how would we translate mitzta'er? I'm not sure. And it comes and stands and forcefully puts itself in front of the person during their davening. V'kasher lo ma'od lahavir zot medimyuno u'machshavato. And it's very difficult for a person to remove this thought from their head. So, I tell you to think about purple, what's it called? Purple unicorns. So then all you think about is purple unicorns. And they say, stop thinking about purple unicorns. Then you could just think about purple unicorns. But imagine something bigger. So it happens to me all the time. In Davening Shemona Esrei, of course, all these thoughts related to work come to mind and all these great things. And I used to write down the thoughts on a piece of paper. I have this guy that davens next to me. I mentioned him before. He's a very holy guy. And he says to me, you're not allowed to write things during Shemona Esrei. So I said to him, you're not allowed to look and see that I'm writing things during Shemona Esrei. He said, you're right. I shouldn't have been looking. It's so crazy. He goes through my talis bag. I'm one of those people that brings everything in the house to shul. And he separates everything. This can't be on this and this can't be on that. And if it's in English, he wants to know, what's this? I tell him it's a prayer. But it shouldn't be on top of the Hebrew prayer. It should be on the side. Okay. So what happens? You're davening. And in my siddur, by the way, I have all kinds of notes. Take 3 steps backwards. Take these 3 seconds for the 3 steps. Don't do this here. Do this here. Because he's told me all these things. And over the years, so I don't do that anymore. So here you are davening, and you can't get these thoughts out of your head. B'shat tefillah, in the time of davening, v'adavar mafriya lo ma'od, and this really disturbs a person. V'ata re'eh, now see. Hayesh lecha shtut gadol v'shigayon yuter mizeh. Is there anything more silly and foolish than this? Ki adam yodea she'avodah zara zo ishtut gmora. Because a person knows that this idol worship is total nonsense. Velo mo'elet klum, and doesn't serve any purpose for the person. Ub'chol zot mitgaber alav mitztayeret lefanav. So I guess it's like creating an image in the person's mind. B'chozek rav, with a great deal of strength. And mizeh yesh nilmod, and from this we have to learn. Ki af she'ayetzer ushtut v'shigayon gamor, even though the yetzer is total nonsense, בכל אופן, השטות הזאת יכולה להתגבר על האדם ולבלבל אותו. Even though the yetzer is total nonsense, it can still overcome a person and confuse the person. ולהטותו אחריה, and to fool the person to follow the yetzer. וכן הוא בשאר התאוות, and so it is with the other transgressions. כי גם תאוות נאוף, because also the transgressions related to adultery and having illicit relations, היא שטות גמורה וכנ"ל. It's total nonsense, and as mentioned above. Meaning that every transgression that we do, if we had our head on our shoulders, we would know that it's total nonsense and we shouldn't be doing it. And the reason that we do it is because the yetzer comes and finds a way to strengthen us. To strengthen itself. And the yetzer is smarter than even King Shlomo. And the yetzer does not give up. So every time you try to push it back, it pushes you back. ובוודאי מי שמתגברים עליו אלו הדמיונות. And a person who has these imaginary thoughts and they overcome the person של שטות התאוות, of the nonsense of doing a transgression, או של עבודה זרה, or of idol worship, כנ"ל is mentioned above, קשה לו מאוד להינצל מהם ולהעבירם ממחשבתו. It's very difficult for a person to free themselves from these thoughts and to overcome them. וכל מה שמתגבר ומנענע וזורק ראשו הנה והנה כדי להסיר מחשבות אלו. And the more a person tries to shake their head and to get these thoughts out of their head, מתגברים עליו הדמיונות האלה יותר ויותר. These thoughts are going to come and get stronger and stronger, like the Chinese finger puzzle. You remember those? You know, you pull your fingers out, it gets tighter. The secret for it getting out is to give a little inner pressure and then take your fingers out. And, you know, when we were kids, I'm sure you as well, it was a lot of fun. You know, like kids, like, stick your fingers in here and pull them out. Like, I really can't get my fingers out. Then they started making them in China, and they were really cheap, so you could just rip them. That's the Chinese making Chinese finger puzzles. But the original ones, I guess, made in India, wherever they were made, I don't know where they were made. They were strong enough to keep kids locked in there. So that's the yetzer. The more you try to fight it, the stronger it gets. So what are we going to do? How does a person overcome the yetzer? Ki ze teva usagulat. He says this is nature and this is a sagula. Sagula means that the word sagula comes from mesugal, comes from an enabler. When somebody says, you know, do this, it's a sagula for something, it means that it's a catalyst, it's an enabler. And he says this thinking about the yetzer and the thoughts that come from the yetzer is also human nature, and it also has the aspect of segula, of being an enabler. No, we read that already. Klamar, that is to say, inyan ze gam b'teva. That is to say, this matter is also in nature. Kamoshe, let's see, what is this? Okay. He's going to give us an example. Aval ugam seguli. But it's also, it creates a loop. So when you start thinking about something, it makes you think about it more. Ki ha-yetzara machnis et ha-machshava b'chozek la'adam. The yetzer comes and puts this thought in a person's mind in a very strong way. V'lachen kashe lo ma'od lihimana mimena. It's very difficult for a person to avoid the yetzer and the thought that was planted in your mind. Kamo she'roim b'chush, as we see in nature and reality, shekol hayom ein ha'adam tarud kol kach b'machshava ma she'yaseh b'inyan esek ploni. The whole day a person can go without thinking about. No way.
Oh my gosh, that was 3 weeks ago.
That scared me. Noga has the key to the bomb shelter now.
Really?
Okay, well, we're going to stay here for now. I don't think a missile's landed in Jerusalem.
Man.
We'll see. Let's just keep going for now.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't come here. That's my phone now. Okay, so a person can spend the whole day not thinking about some type of business thing. Ulam miyad sheba litpalel, but the second they come to start davening, olim lo kol hamachshavot v'hatiodot me'asakav v'inyanав v'chule v'chule. All these thoughts about all the things they have to take care of and all their business matters, all of a sudden they come into their head in the time of davening. Dvarim shelo chashav aleim kol hayom kulo, things that you didn't think about all day. V'zeu inyan seguli, and this is what he calls a seguli matter, meaning that one thing will lead to another. Yetzer machnis lo et hamachshavot halalu kedei litrodo mitfilato. That the yetzer brings these things into your mind in order to keep you from focusing on your davening. It's a rocket or a plane? Yeah. Okay. Shel elu hayetzerim haraim hamezuhamim, from these these poisonous yetzer, evil inclination. Kol ma sherotzim litgaber al ela hamachshavot, everything you try to do in order to overcome these thoughts, yoter v'yoter heim mitgabrim. The more you fight them, the stronger they get. And the reason for this, it's like if somebody who's running away from something. That the person looks over their shoulder to see if they're really getting far away from this thing. And then from looking at this thing, this thing then gets stronger. Like in the movies. Somebody is running away from an alien that's chasing him, and he's running, super fast, and he thinks he's doing great, and he turns around, and he sees now it picks up steam, runs up and closer to the person. So your thoughts are going to be more about that thing. Because you haven't removed your thoughts from this. On the contrary. Every time you look back to see, am I still having this thought? This person sets it more in their mind. Okay. You're gonna go. Yeah. Okay, everyone. So I wanted to finish the last sentence here.
Okay.
Okay, I'll finish the last sentence, or you're free to go. And understand this well. If you want to go straight out to the bomb shelter, you can go through the front door. No, the door shouldn't be locked. It's locked. Wait, watch your dog. Okay. שהוא בודק כל הזמן אם מחשבה זו עברה ממנו כבר, the person keeps checking that this transgression is past already, בזה הוא דווקא קובע אותה בדעתו. This totally sets it in a person's mind, כמו שידוע לכל מי שנלכד בזה, as anybody who's been trapped in this knows, שיש לו אלו מחשבות רחמנא ליצלן. Everybody knows that this is what happens. And he talks about the color red, and he says, sometimes you'll say, don't think about the color red, and then all you think about is the color red. Okay, I wanted to tell a little story, but Yemen ended the lesson early again, so thank you everyone for watching, and Zai Gazun.